Hey everybody, this is a page map that I'm using from this month's page maps, and I had seen a technique on Stamp TV where they stamped with white on black paper, and I'm showing you the stamp that I used. That's a stamp that I was given by Little Blue Bicycle. She sent it to me. So they stamped white on black paper, and then they dried it, and then they use colored pencils over the top of the white, and it helps the colored pencil color to pop on top of the black, so it becomes almost kind of magical and luminous. And I really wanted to try this technique since I saw it on Stamp TV, and I wanted to use that stamp one more time. Yesterday's Valentine's Day. I'm not much of a heart person. I don't use them very often, so I wanted to use the stamp one more time before I put it away for next year. And so that's what I'm doing. And I don't make you watch me color all of them. It takes a while. But you can see that I'm outlining with a light color, and then I'm taking the darker color and coloring in the center and kind of blending it over the heart. And it's just beautiful and playful, and oh, I love how these came out. So then I have to fussy cut them, and I don't make you watch all of that either, because that took quite a long time. This layout took me about an hour and a half total, because of all the little details. But that's pretty typical for me. That's not atypical. When I had seen that page map, I immediately thought of this stamp and this technique, so it really inspired me. And also, I had taken these pictures yesterday of my son. We did a craft together. He was home and his sister was off at a 4-H event, and he was really lonely. So I was like, okay, well, let's make some Valentine cards on Valentine's Day. So that's what we did. So then the background paper, you can see I pulled it from the Hello Love crepe paper line. And I'm getting kind of low on large pieces. And I don't always scrapbook in 12 by 12, but I wanted to do that for this layout. So I did find one that I liked, that I felt like fit the theme, and I have loved the Hello Love line. It's not even my typical, I tend to be more vintage, but I really have loved this line. There's vintage touches to this line, which I guess helps me to really love it in the graphic nature. I'm working on the pictures because I have 3 pictures, not 2, unlike the sketch. And you'll see me place these pictures on this layout over and over and over as I think about it, because I kind of diverged from the sketch at one point. So here I am. I've got some watercolor paper, and that was Artist Loft watercolor paper 90 pound. Because I'm going to do some watercolor effect to sort of mimic what we did in the cards. And I was measuring to see how wide I needed it to be, and it was about 6.5. So there, I'm going to test it out. Yep, that's what I want. I'm going to put those photos on there again to see if they fit nicely. Yep, they do. You'll see me do that over and over. Seemed like I tested and tested. Oh, and then I'm going to line up the hearts and see how I like them. And this is just, oh my gosh, I just love this. This layout came out so cute. And so like my style, which is neat, when you make a layout and you know that you've taken products that are very, that everybody has these products, and yet this layout, I haven't seen anything like this layout done. So anyway, it's just me. So I'm going to back this rather thin pattern paper on this piece of black cardstock. And I like cardstock as a background. I like the stability of a good heavy cardstock, and I also just like, I like framing. If I'm going to use pattern paper as a background, it almost always gets framed on cardstock like that. So that's what I'm doing there. And I still haven't decided what I'm going to, I knew I've got the watercolor. I hadn't decided exactly how I was going to deal with it. And then I remembered the ink smushing technique with Distress Inks. And that's just what, it was right. So I picked cracked pistachio, fossilized amber, and peacock feathers. And I'm smushing it down. and I'm spraying it liberally until it beads up pretty substantially, pretty good sized beads. And then we smush. You know, you guys have done this, right? Or something similar to this. This is a classic Tim Holtz move. And I just keep smushing. And I kind of go offline here for a bit because I smushed until all that ink was gone. I took other pieces of paper and smushed them. And I dried it, and now I'm doing the splatter where you pull some of the color off because I wanted a little more variation, which is fun. And I don't have any fancy things. I just put it in my hand and throw it down. So there it is. So that's that, and I love it, and it's so pretty, and it dries even prettier. It's one of the things I've learned about watercolor. You can't know what it's going to look like till it's truly dry because it just doesn't always look exactly the same. So here we are. I'm going to glue this piece down, and I'm just like, oh, I love this. It's so pretty. And then I'm going to try my pictures again and make sure I still like it. You're going to see me do that over and over. Yep, I still like it. Okay. I'm going to start gluing down my, I needed to put my pictures down this time actually so that I could see where to put those hearts. So I'm gluing the hearts down on top of the pattern paper, or on top of the watercolor paper. And I just love this. Oh my gosh, the black with the white and the, oh, it's so pretty. So then I take out this old Fiskars punch, which I got at a thrift store, and it doesn't punch very well, and I kind of hate it after working with it, but it looks neat, and it's sort of masculine, and most of my border punches are fairly feminine. Because, you know, I'm a girl, so I always get the girly ones, and yeah. So anyway, I'm putting a border on either side, and I thought about using like lace or something, but I don't really have any. I don't have a lot of black lace or ribbon. Surprise, surprise. Black and gray are my weak points in my fiber stash. So, and besides, it is kind of a boy layout, and there's a lot of girly colors on it, but it's a Valentine layout. So anyway, you see that I sewed. You probably don't see close up, but I sewed down the center of those lines of hearts, and you can see that I'm kind of gonna puff them up. I sewed along the top and bottom of the watercolor panel, and that was in the sketch. If you look in the sketch, those were in the sketch. So, and then I've got this long black piece that I'm going to make a banner out of, and it's going to be where my journaling is and my title is. This again, it was in the sketch. So if you go back and look at the sketch, you'll see that it has that. Sketches really sometimes inspire me. They get me out of Stucksville. So here I am. Gluing that panel down, my banner. And there is my journaling spot. And I realize, oh, it's a little plain. What should I do? And then I look back at the sketch, and it tells me what to do, which is to stitch on the side. And I love that detail. You see this, there's like a double line of stitching right there. And you can just kind of see it you'll see it in the details at the end. But I just loved it because it mimicked all the stitching that's already on the piece. And then I think I want to just take a Happy Valentine's Day stamp and don't use the happy part and have it say Valentine's Day, and use that Valentine's Day craft. That's going to be my title. So I get some of the leftover paper. There's the watercolor strip that I had cut off. I had also dipped that in all of that ink in my crazy dipping. And you saw me like ink only the Valentine's Day and then just sort of rub off the sections that say happy. And I found a circle punch and I punched it. And then I've got a scallop circle that I'm going to put it inside of, and I'm liking that. That's making me happy. So again, testing. And I'm going to start gluing things together. That's the little title piece. And now the layout's it's starting to really gel for me. So I'm going to put some journaling lines on my journal card. just pencil them in. That's what I'm doing here with that ruler. If y'all don't have a quilting ruler, you find those in the quilting section. They are wonderful and they're so useful, and they're not terribly expensive, and you can get them at Michael's or Joann's and use your coupon. And that 6x12 ruler is really helpful in scrapbooking. So here I am journaling away about my story about how he was having kind of a blue weekend because his sister was gone and having fun, and he was at home with mom and dad, and so we had mommy son time, and how much he loved it. So now I'm going to glue my journaling down, and I'm actually going to start committing to more of this layout. Finally, you're going to see me glue these pictures down instead of fiddle with them. Oh, it's wonderful that they're finally getting glued down. Because when I was doing the editing for this, I thought, how many times am I going to put those pictures down there without actually gluing them down? But I had to know that they were fitting. It was just part of the process. Some layouts are like that, right? Some layouts take longer than others. But this one, oh, it just really inspires me. I love it. So I went a little border, and I went into my stash, my box of scraps, and found this teal that matches the teal in the pattern paper. And I decided to border that one photo, which is my favorite photo of the whole thing. It's a picture of Jack stamping. And I decided to layer it on there. And I'm just cutting it like that. I don't usually do that. I usually use a paper trimmer, but my paper trimmer is actually getting kind of dull. And I need to get a new blade, so I figured I'd just cut it with scissors. Live dangerously. I know a lot of you guys live dangerously all the time, and it doesn't bother you. It makes me nervous to do that. If it's even the slightest bit crooked, it bothers me, so, which is odd. Anyway, so there it is, and I glue it down. Yay! And then I pull out, you've seen these stickers, I'm sure you have in my recent, I want to get these used, and there's so many stickers on there. Look at, I've used this on like 4 layouts, and look at how many stickers I have left. These are Club Scrap stickers from gosh knows when. And I like the black and white graphic nature. I actually got rid of most of my Club Scrap stickers because they were just too specific to the particular kit that they came in or whatever. And they just didn't work for, you know, like for me. I don't generally use stickers. But these I liked because they were real just simple and black, and they line up nicely. So but I'm going to use them up. We're going to kill that sticker sheet and get rid of it, and then there won't be any more stickers to use. Yay! All right, so I've got my Valentine's Day craft title on there, and I use that same chunk of watercolor paper, and I punch out some little confetti hearts with the Martha Stewart punch that I picked up just a few weeks ago on discount because they were getting rid of them at Michael's, which makes me sad because I actually really like Martha Stewart punches, but there it is. And I am going to start spreading these little confetti hearts all over the layout. You're going to see me make a line of them there on the side, and then I'm going to put a few of them on my colored pencil hearts. And I'm going to put them, I punched some black ones to put on my title up there, my little title bubble. And then I make a little banner to go in the part of that photo that just isn't attractive. And I'm going to fiddle with that, but I wanted to cover the table there. It wasn't looking very attractive. So I'm going to go ahead and write the date on that little banner so that I'm recording the date. And I think I'm going to put that heart there, but then it just didn't seem enough. So I'm thinking while I'm putting the date on it, and I think, oh, I'd like to mimic that scallop circle. So I go and get a 1-inch scallop circle from punch from my stash, but the heart is too big for it. So I actually just trim down the heart. Literally just take my scissors and make the heart smaller. And I glue that right there on the picture, covering the table. And it kind of creates another cluster there. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, deciding which heart I'm going to trim down. There it is. I trimmed it down so it fits inside of that 1-inch circle. And then, of course, you know, I've got to add a little one of the watercolor circles, the confetti circles on there. I found one underneath, sitting underneath the layout to add. And I just felt like there was a naked spot at the top of that journaling, so I found a little skiff of paper that started like 1/8 of an inch and went down to nothing. And I decided to make it like a little piece there, so I glued it up there. I wanted to put another heart up there in the top corner near the title, and then of course I have to add a confetti heart to it. And then I do some pen work on top of those little hearts because I feel like I needed to bring that black down to those hearts. They just seemed kind of pale. And here are the close-ups. So you can see the title with the little hearts and the pen work around it. You can see all the stitching and the little confetti hearts on the black hearts. You can see the date banner and the pen work on my little confetti hearts there on the journaling block. It's a very detailed layout. It's, you know, very much my style. Thanks. Have a nice day.